help me. We have a bunch of Beyblade X news to talk about, from the upcoming TyrannoBeat random booster to the reveal of the next UX Bay, which I'm not really the biggest fan of. Let's just dive straight into it, but first, hit that like button and hit subscribe to join the Nook Nation. And let's talk about TyrannoBeat. I have already made a video talking about the upcoming random booster. Pretty much all of the models released in the Beyblade X app in 2Bernie15 took those models and made them look beautiful, and now we have the official pictures. And I will say, 2Bernie was pretty close. Let's quickly go over the other bays in this random booster before we focus on TyrannoBeat. The first one we're going to look at is going to be Rhino Horn. The actual image is definitely a lot more purple or indigo than 2Bernie's version, which I definitely prefer the pink in 2Bernie. Next up, we have Shark Edge, which is one of my favorite looking bays in this set, even though it's not one of the more exciting releases. It's in this black and red monochrome look that I really like. Next up, we have a Blue Hell's Chain, which I think is a pretty solid inclusion into this random booster. Remember, Hell's Chain is pretty competitive in the meta, and the only way you can get it before was in the Hell's Chain deck set. So getting a reissue here is nice. The parts are pretty decent as well. We have 980 for the ratchet, and then Orb for the bits, and Orb is pretty decent as well. Next up, we have the orange and blue Dran Dagger, and even though this is not my favorite color scheme, just like Hell's Chain, the only way you could get this blade was in its own deck set, so having it included in a random booster is nice. And for the parts, we have 470 and Point, and Point's pretty solid. And now we can finally move on to the dinosaur bays, starting with the green recolor of TyrannoBeat, which is still not my favorite. I think the 2Bernie model looks better than the official one. The coloring is it's just not my favorite color, okay? I don't care about it. It's also on 360 and the Spike bit. Why Spike? If you guys are interested in getting TyrannoBeat for yourselves, sponsor of the channel, Mall of Toys, has just opened up pre-orders for the entire random booster, so go and check that out. And if you're not interested, they have other UX bays like Dran Buster and Hell's Hammer, whatever Beyblade X stuff you may want. So go and check them out, link in the description down below, and make sure to use code ilinnuc to get 5% off of your first purchase. And now finally, we can move on to the red and goldish yellow color scheme of TyrannoBeat, which is the prize. And I think it just looks really good. I think the TyrannoBeat blade in general is really well detailed. It looks really nice. For the parts, we have 470, which is whatever. And for the bits, we have Q, which is Quake. This is the new bit for this set. It's not going to be competitively great. It's also in a blue color scheme, which is interesting. The 2Bernie model showed it having red, and we knew it wasn't going to have red. But seeing the blue, it looks a little weird. Pretty much the entire gimmick for this bay is to be able to hop and kind of attack from the air just a little bit. But you might see some pretty crazy stuff on YouTube or on Twitter trying to say Quake is really good, but I just doubt it. I doubt it'll be some really competitive piece. Let me know what you guys think of TyrannoBeat in the comments down below. But now we move on to the new bay, which is UX. It's part of the UX, the Unique Extreme lineup, and we have Shinobi Shadow. Shinobi Shadow is going to be releasing May 18th, and it is a random booster select, just like Viper Tail, and I don't know how I feel about it. Let's just start off with the fact that this is a random booster select. Kind of slimy that we're getting a random booster in April and a random booster select in May. Definitely an interesting move from Takara Tomy. And because it is a random booster select, it does mean that every bay you're going to be getting is a Shinobi Shadow at least, just in different color schemes. One of them is a kind of all gray look, which I actually like the most out of all of them. It's also going to have 960, which we got with Phoenix Wing, and low flat. So kind of a competitive combo, maybe. It's all right. Then we have one that is in yellow, and it kind of reminds me of a pineapple. It has that sort of wizard rod color scheme, and this one I don't care about much. And then we have the main prize, Shinobi Shadow, and there's quite a bit to talk about here. It is a defense type, and it also has a 3-bladed shape, which is not unique, but it's supposed to absorb hits or even kind of evade hits, kind of like how a ninja is super agile. Same idea. Because this is a UX bay, it's going to be similar to the other bays in the UX lineup where you connect your launchers are not metal, it's going to be plastic. And the design here kind of reminds me of the Sharingan from Naruto, which I believe is based off of the Japanese symbol of Tomo. If anybody knows any more than that, let me know in the comments down below. But it's all right. It is definitely not as cool as Hell's Hammer or Dran Buster, that's for sure. I think it's a little bit nicer looking than Wizard Rod, but it's not my favorite. I'm also just not the biggest fan of this color scheme, being the kind of green and blue. It's not my favorite. And we also have the Shinobi design in the middle. I will say it is an interesting motif, and getting a ninja is pretty nice. It's definitely better than the Hasbro Bay Knife Shinobi. So you're telling me we're getting a Hasbro exclusive Knife Shinobi, which is similar to Rhino Horn, and then we're getting the Takara Tomy Shinobi Shadow? Are these bays supposed to be connected? And if so, are we going to get evolutions from Takara Tomy for Talon Terra or even Samurai? But moving on, Shinobi Shadow is just kind of mid in the design department to me. But what do you guys think about this ninja motif? Let's also talk about the parts as well. Okay, for the Ratchet, we have 180. It's just a variation of 160 that came on Dran Buster, and I don't really think it fits Shinobi here. At least on Dran Buster, the kind of 1 point lined up with the Dran Buster blade. But here on Shinobi Shadow, it's just kind of there. And the worst part of the whole combo has to be the bit. We have MN, or Metal Needle. So, wow. First of all, it is a variation to Needle, which does that mean we're not getting a UX version of Night Shield, because that had Needle as well. There's also the fact that it is in this lime green color, which I do not understand at all. It's similar to the color of Spike that came on Rhino Horn, which I don't know why that one was green either, but it's green. And finally, it is Metal Needle. So we have metal on the bit for the first time, and this is a really cool precedent to set for the rest of the Beyblade series. Are we gonna get metal flat or metal taper potentially? That's a cool idea. But having it be Metal Needle means it is probably a stadium destroyer. I don't know if you guys remember Metal Sharp that came with Burn Phoenix or Burn Fireblaze way back in the Metal Fight days, but launching your bay and having it drop and hit the stadium on that metal point would dent your stadiums a couple times. I think that tip might even be banned in WBO tournaments, so we might see the same fate for Shinobi Shadow here. I would understand maybe a metal ball or a metal orb where it's rounded, but having this point really drop into a plastic stadium just doesn't seem like a great idea. But that was Shinobi Shadow, and overall, I don't know how to feel about it. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. I don't really like the idea of Metal Needle. Metal Bits is cool, but Metal Needle is just, no thanks. TyrannoBeat is definitely the cooler of the two random boosters, and I'm glad that that's the one that we're going to be getting here in just a couple of weeks. And let's talk about the releases really quick. We have TyrannoBeat Random Booster coming out April 27th. We have Shinobi Shadow coming out mid-May, and then in June, we're supposed to be getting the Hasbro stuff here in the US and some other parts of the world, so we have quite a bit of Beyblade X to talk about over the next few months. But let me know what you guys think of TyrannoBeat and Shinobi Shadow, and if you guys are going to be getting any of the bays from those random boosters, let me know in the comments down below, but hit that like button, hit subscribe, join the Nook Nation. Hope you had fun watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Have fun, and bay away.